Hi, I am in PowerPoint and today we are going to create earring cards. I started these a while ago, but I never printed them and I wanted to make it a little bit easier to cut out. I'm going to cut mine out by hand and I don't want to worry about the curves. So I'm going to create some earring cards that are similar to these, but where I don't have to worry about going over the curves. And I'm creating these in PowerPoint. I'm starting on a fresh slide. I'm going to insert a table. And I want 4 cards on each row. And now that I've inserted my table, I'm going to go ahead and change the border to just a solid black border with a solid inside or a no fill. So you don't have to worry about having anything in there unless you want your earring cards to have different colors. But my first ones are just going to be black and white. And I want to make these bigger. Let me see what size I made these. So they are 5, okay, 5 inches tall. I don't think I'm going to make these 5 inches tall. I am going to bump them up to 4 because this is a landscape page, so it's 11 by 8.5. And so I should be able to make my table 8 inches tall. And I'm in the layout section. I'm going to highlight the height, which is now 0.81, and I'm going to change that to 8 inches. And now my table height is 8 inches, and I'm just going to center it. Now, since I have 4 columns, I cannot make a 3-inch across earring card because it would be way off the page. It would be about 12 inches. So I am going to go over here and change the cell width. I'm going to start with 2 inches. Make sure that your cursor is not in one of the cells. Have the 4 arrows come up and then click on your table, and now go over to width, and it's going to change the individual cell width. And I'm going to type in 2 to see how that looks. I think that this is too skinny for my earrings. So now I'm going to try 2.5. Because I know if I tried 3, that would be 12 inches, and my page is only 11 inches. Let's see. Okay, that's centered. I like that. I feel like it's tall enough. It might still be too skinny. So I am going to make this as wide as I can each cell. So now I'm just going to use my arrow and keep bumping it up until I get closer to the edges. Let's see, will that center? Perfect. Okay, so 2.7. If you have 4 earrings across in your column, then 2.7 would work if you're using this table method. And now for the fun part, adding in the actual design. Since I already have this made, I'm going to copy and paste my circle. And I'm going to give this a black outline. I need to make it white again, and then change the outline to black. That way, if I ever want to punch a hole, if I have my earring cards in a certain area and I have a peg to put them on, I would be able to do that. But if you don't know how to add shapes, I can show you how to do that. So make sure you're on home. And then now I'm going to go to shapes. I'm going to click on the oval and go ahead and add the oval, and it automatically made it that same size. I'm going to make it a little smaller, and I'll show you how you can change the size of it to make sure that you have a perfect circle. So over here you can see that it's 3/10, and that's more, the 0.32. So now we want to change them to make sure they're the same. So they're both 3/10. And you want it in the middle. Once you add the text, it's a little bit easier to make sure it's in the middle, but right now you can eyeball it. And now I'm going to change this first one as well. That way, if I don't punch a hole in the top, it's not that noticeable. So 3/10. Okay. Now I am going to change my shape color. Since the shape menu is already open, which is orange, and if you were still on home, it would be orange over here when you have a shape selected. I'm clicking on shape, and then I am going over to shape fill and shape outline. My shape fill will be white and my shape outline will be black. Now, this is where it gets easy. I'm going to select my two circles. And how I did that, I held down Control on my keyboard, and that little plus sign that pops up with that rectangle, that's how you know that you can select multiple items. Another way to do it is to go off to the side and select them that way. So you can drag across them and select them at the same time. Now I'm going to copy and paste them, Control C and Control V on your keyboard. And then now I will align them just like that. And as you can see how I know that they're perfectly aligned, those red arrows popped up in between. So that's how you know that they're all in the same spot on each of those cards. Now I am going to zoom in a little bit and select each four of the circles. Okay. And the same way I pasted them before was Control V. That's how you paste. And I'm going to drag them down until they are in the same spot as the ones at the top. Let's see. Down a little bit. And the height is a little bit different on the ones at the bottom. And I like how close to the edge those are. Actually, I don't, just in case I poke the holes wrong. Let me bring that down a little bit. There we go. Okay, now I have all of the holes aligned just in case I put them on a peg one day. Now I want these smaller circles, and this is how I would add my holes to the earring cards. And so I'm just going to select them. And these earring cards are for a stud pack. If you just have a single pair of earrings, you would not need as many circles. And the circles are just there as a guide. You won't see them in the finished product. And so since this card is a little shorter, let me go ahead and you can't see them because I need to change the color. So I'm going to click shape format. And since these colors are already selected, I don't have to go to the drop down list. I'm going to click white fill, black outline, and now you can see them. Before you couldn't. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay. And that looks good on there. And it depends on your stud size. The stud size for these particular, for this to be four and how far they are spaced, 1/2 inch or less. But I think I am going to take away 2 of those circles and bring this down here. Just like that. That way I can add my logo to the top. Now I'm going to add a text box because I want to add my logo at the top. So I'm going to click on Insert, Shapes, and Text Box. And then my text box is going to go right under that circle that's at the top. And my business name is Unity Handmade. So I'm going to type that in. And I want to make sure it's centered under that top circle. And so that line just popped up that's showing that it's centered. And then in the text box, I'm going to click center up here where it says paragraph. Now I want to change the font. I change the font all the time. And so I'm just going to scroll through all of the fonts that I have and choose one that I like the most. And you can just click through any of the fonts you like to choose what you want for your business. I chose my font, and the font is called K.A. Farmfield. Caitlin has different fonts, I believe. I know she sells on Etsy. I don't know if she sells on Creative Fabrica, but if you go on Etsy and type in Caitlin Albany or KA Fonts, or you can Google her to find her fonts, that's who I like to use. But there were quite a few that looked kind of similar to this that are just in PowerPoint, probably already on your computer, so you can use those as well. But since I purchased those, I like to always go to those first before I use something that's free. Even though if you can do this for free, then do it for free. And this is just, I need to say this. I have the commercial version of PowerPoint. I think it's $8 and some change a month. And it's not just the commercial version of PowerPoint, but it's the Microsoft suite. OneNote, I don't think, never mind. OneNote, I don't think is a thing anymore. But you have, I believe, Teams on here. I have Excel, and I have Microsoft Word. So all that comes with it. And then you can also access it online. But you can't use the personal version of PowerPoint to create anything commercially. And it's $8 a month. So I feel like since I make more than that on my digital products a month, it makes sense for me to pay $8 and some change a month to be able to create all that I need in PowerPoint. Okay, so back to the font. I chose this font. I thought about different jewelry brands, and they tend to keep it simple, and I think this one is pretty cute. It has, let me see if I can cut up the brightness and zoom in. You can see the variation, how some sides are thick and some sides are thin. So it's a little bit more unique than just having the letters all the same thickness. Now these, again, are stud earring cards. And that's why I have all these circles. And so I tried to make sure that I had enough space in between. So once the earring is on here, it'll be a little bit up here. And so I didn't want the font to be too close. Now, since my business name is Unity Handmade, I went ahead and typed that in. I'm going to copy and paste it. down here, right there is good. And I do not have a website for my handmade products. I sell on the website Shop My Porch. And so I am going to keep Unity Handmade as is in that font. But I'm going to bump down the font to 12. Let's do 14. No. Yes, let's do 14. And then I'm going to click enter and type in on shop my porch.com. Okay, let me undo these spaces. There we go. And now I'm going to make this font on Shop My Porch, since that is not part of my business. That's just where I'm hosted. I'm going to bump that down to 12. And then move this down just a little bit more, because I do like it right at the bottom. Now, for Unity Handmade, I forgot to do this earlier. I'm going to kern my font, which is to change the character spacing. So, right, this is what tight looks like. As you can see behind this little menu, it's a lot tighter, and then back to normal. And as big as I can get it, let's see. Will that still fit? Let me see if I can center it. Yes, that still fits. Now let me put it into presentation mode. I don't know if I like that side by side with it kerned. So I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to put it how PowerPoint initially had it for me. And I like that. I like how far apart the characters are. I'm going to bump it up to very loose and see. I like that a lot better. There we go. Let me scoot that up a little bit. There we go. And now let's check presentation mode. Good. So now I'm going to select all like I showed you earlier. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I just realized I don't need my little circle at the top. There we go. All of that is selected except for that. So I'm going to Control C, Control V, and add everything to each one of the cards. I have now centered everything. I really like how they look. It's kind of rustic, but not too rustic or farmhousey, even though the font is called Farmfield. And I feel like this is something that I can grow with and add to if I want to add some embellishments to this or not. Like if I wanted to add florals to it, I could, and that font would work. And since my brand is Unity Handmade, even if I design other products besides jewelry, which I do, then this would still fit. And you might be wondering why I decided to do these in black and white. They are in black and white because I have different colors of cardstock. So when I go to print these, all I have to do to change my earring card color, because imagine spring. If I wanted to print these on a pastel pink or pastel yellow, I could do that. But if I would have already added color, I would have to worry about having enough ink. And I don't want to have to worry about that. But these are just going on plain white cardstock. Yeah, these are just going on plain white cardstock for right now, because my earring colors are very bright. But since I do have different colors of cardstock, I can print these any color that I want. And if you're just starting off, I would suggest that as well to help you save a bit of money. Especially because Hobby Lobby and Michaels tend to have it on sale quite often. And Michaels sends out 40% off coupons every once in a while. And so if you want to stock up on the different colors of cardstock, you can do that. at a pretty good rate. And then you could also just send these off to get printed at FedEx or Staples or somewhere like that if you want as well. Now my earrings right now, with the earring cards, they don't have a back, but one thing I will do is go ahead and duplicate the page. And so hold down Control and click D. I believe on a Mac computer it's Command CMD, but on a PC it's Control. And what I'm going to do is take away the bottom 4 holes. That way, this is for one pair of earrings. Say my larger earrings. I won't need these holes because I don't want anybody looking at that if it's only one pair that they're wearing. And I'm going to duplicate it again and just get rid of the bottom layer just in case I have a set of earrings that I just want to be 2 studs. And I'm going to drag these down just a little bit. Uh-oh, I did not mean to move those over. There we go. Okay, now that would be for 2 studs. And because some of the studs might be a little bit larger, I just bumped that down a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. And I'll do the same thing to the bottom. I just realized something. I don't need to worry about adding holes on all of them. I just need the earring holes on one card. So don't even worry about adding these extras, because if you have them on one card, the way I'm going to add my holes, I've seen this on a few other jewelry channels, they drill a hole through the paper. And I'm just going to delete these now. So don't even worry about those. If you want them as a guide, you can keep them. If you make your earring cards one by one. And so now I'm just going to make sure these are in a good spot, since this is the one that I'm going to use to stack on top of the other ones. I have my earring cards made for 3 pairs of earrings, 3 studs, then 2 pairs of earrings, and then this is the earring card with 1 pair of earrings. And I'm very pleased with how these turned out. Thank you for watching. This is how I design my earring cards right in PowerPoint. Remember, you would need to make sure that you have the Microsoft Office suite that's available for commercial use, because if you have the personal Microsoft, then it is unavailable for commercial use. But you can use the other version of the Microsoft suite, which is what I have, and it's only about $8.95 a month. So thank you for watching, and I appreciate you stopping by. Again, my name is Nikisha, and I am the person behind the brand Unity Handmade.